But what I don't talk about a lot is 3 years ago my daughter died. And one of the things that Brooke and I shared so much was a love for baked bread. And we would exchange all these bread recipes, and I gave her a bread machine. And we were actually talking about starting a little business together where we would bake bread. She had this great recipe for white bread with rose petals in it. And you bake it, you glaze it on top with egg white. You guys don't have to listen to this, but women, this is great. So when you get through, you have this beautiful golden loaf of bread, and you slice it, and it's snow white with rose petals in it. And it just smells like heaven because it has vanilla in it too. So you've got vanilla and roses, and oh, it smells so good. And then she had great recipe for chocolate bread, and oh, we just had all these great bread recipes. So my daughter died. Now, Brooke and I had, what a relationship. Wow. Hate you, love you relationship, you know? She was a handful. But the last year, we had finally become best buddies. And that's where we did all of our bread baking. Well, then the little twerp just had an aneurysm and just died. And she didn't... for the next 2 years, you know, she never contacted me. And that's just like you. Dean showed up. Well, I'm not going to. So one night I'm writing, and I write through the night when I'm working on a writing assignment. And it's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just typing away like crazy. And now this was a year ago. And all of a sudden, the room was filled with the smell of bread baking. And I thought, oh Lord, did I leave a loaf of bread close to the pilot light in there? And I jump up and I go in the kitchen. But on the way I had to go through a dining room, and the smell was strong in there, and it was strong in the kitchen, but there was nothing near the stove. And I come back in and I sit down, and it hits me, Brooke. I said, oh my gosh, she did it! And I'm sitting there going, Brooke, you did it! You came through! Oh my God, I love you! I got a deadline on this though, so I got to do this. Thank you! And then I go back to typing. And I'm sure she said, she has no idea how much trouble that took. She writes a book about Dean, and I get, I love you, I got a deadline. But she's never come back, but she may yet. But what's interesting is it's something that happened the next day. I was to take a friend out to coffee. So I pick him up, and on the way, he says to me, now he's 95 years old. I had just produced a documentary about him, a World War II documentary, and I just love that darling old man. So on the way, he says to me, dangest thing happened to me this morning. Now, I do remember the time was 2 o'clock. I said between 2 and 3, but it was 2. He said, darndest thing happened to me at 2 o'clock this morning. My first thought was he's going to tell me he got to go to the bathroom, and he stubbed his toe, and I don't want to hear this. He said, I woke up because the house was just filled with the smell of bread baking. I said, you did? He said, I did. He said, in fact, I wondered if I had set something in the oven and forgot about it. I said, so I got up and I went in the kitchen, and no, the stove wasn't on and there was nothing in the oven. He said, but I went in the living room just trying to see where the scent came from. And he said, you know, it was as strong in one room as it was another. And I said, AJ, it's called confirmation. And I told him that, I said, what time was it? He said, it was 2. And I said, okay. My daughter knew that you and I were going to go to coffee. So she made sure that you had the same thing happen to you as I had happened, so that we would know there's no mistake.